We call this the threshold of hell in Pennsylvania. Made world famous by a meme. Yes, this is real. The urban sprawl meme is real, although it's only like a half mile. Everything else is just forest around us.
Yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere except for this one cursed location.
It is still highly cursed.
Yes.
What happens when the interstate going from the capital merges with the most expensive toll road?
Capitalism.
Although the Black Boys Rebellion is relatively obscure in American history today, in 1939 it was made a featured presentation by Hollywood. It was the inspiration for Allegheny Uprising, one of John Wayne's earlier roles. Note that Wayne does not have the marquee title on the poster. It's actually Claire Trevor. This was before John Wayne became, well, the man, the myth, the legend we know him as today.
Prepare to disperse. Disperse. God save the king.
So I made a boo-boo. And there's a small bag I bring on our trips. Usually consists of the notes, of information for videos we're gonna do. Usually contains the charger for my phone, because my phone battery is non-existent. And I usually have a few small cords to charge the phone and portable battery. Well, what happened, Connor?
The bag has been for gore.
Yeah, it was for gore at home. So we endured Walmart and Walmartians. Actually, it wasn't that hard.
I was about to say, is it me though, or is that like a weirder Walmart than I've been in?
Well, that was a big one. We're not used to the big ones.
Oh, that's the difference.
Have you ever been in?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, theirs is big. So yeah, that's the mega Walmart over there. We're not used to mega Walmarts where we are in the mountains. So we're fleeing the scene, and hopefully we'll somehow get to Gettysburg.
They're not going. I'm going.
Somehow. Some way.
Right, we just gotta survive the rest of Chambersburg's lights. I am apparently not thinking today.
I think we need food here shortly.
Yeah, where do you want to stop for lunch?
I don't know. Foodville.
Foodville? All right.
Foodville.
All right, so you'll see these stores all over the place. They'll be like so-and-so's antiques, boutiques, collectibles, whatever. Crafts. Anything that says antiques are just a small fraction of what's actually in the store. And you're going to waste so much time going in there, going through all these crafty things and knickknacks, and there'll be like one or two booths that kind of have some antiques, but it's never anything that you're actually interested in. It's like china and maybe like some baskets. And yeah, so it's just a scam. If your store is not antiques, I'm not going in there unless I have literally nothing better to do. Great movie. The city's freaking huge.
It's huge.
Huge. Biggest city you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Has multiple zip codes. Multiple.
So per the laws of the National Park Service visitors, the battle couldn't have occurred here in Hare Ridge. There's no park here. They only allow the fight within the boundaries, correct?
Correct, yes. Hey, how else were they supposed to referee everything?
Correct.
Yeah.
Are you ready to repent for your sins?
No.
You're about to
Yeah,
go.
you're right, that's not what we want.
You're about to go through the circle of hell
Again.
again.
If you've never been to Gettysburg, you don't understand. This is the worst roundabout I have ever had the displeasure of driving through.
It's too large for one lane, but it's too small for two lanes.
Yes. Okay, this isn't.
It's starting.
This isn't the worst thing ever. This one, right?
Yep, this is the one. This is the way. While the big attraction for the maneuvers was the demonstrations on the field of Pickett's Charge, there were other tacticals conducted in the Gettysburg area. And we're standing in the location of one of the larger tacticals. On June 29th, 1922, elements of the 5th Marine Infantry Regiment... Well, nope, I'm dead.
Said the thing.
They said the thing.
Yeah.
I'm so used to talking about infantry.
Yeah, you don't talk about Marines very often.
No, I don't ever get
Your
this
content,
chance.
yeah.
I never get this chance. All right. Blech. I had a bug fly by. Oh,
We'll edit that in post.
well, I did that in post. Yeah, it'll be great. Now, for some historical context, as this small stream plays a very important role in the actual Battle of Gettysburg, much how this was a natural barrier that tested the Marines' mental to cross, so too it was an actual barrier that the Confederates had to try to traverse. One of the most famous actions that occurred for here was between the 26th North Carolina and the 24th Michigan. 26th North Carolina was one of the largest regiments that came into the Battle of Gettysburg. They would come down from that hillside there, coming down from Hare Ridge, and they would enter the gully of Willoughby Run, and their mission was to move that. The brush would not have been built up like this. Their goal was to traverse this side of McPherson's Ridge and drive the Iron Brigade off of that crest of that hillside over there. Now, one of the regiments that they would face off with is the 24th Michigan, and the resulting action between the 26th North Carolina and the 24th Michigan is one of the most costliest regimental v. regimental battles of the American Civil War. Both units suffer casualty rates up into 70, 75, even 80% before their time at Gettysburg was finished, and a lot of those casualties were incurred right in this gully due to the rough terrain. And you can ask Humble Collector over here, what do you think about this terrain?
I wouldn't want to assault across it. Not only do you have the enemy on the high ground over here, you also have to cross this creek. So any maneuvers you're going to do, your men are going to get separated. You're going to have to try to reform over here. It's just straight up not a good time.
It was a horrible obstacle for the 26th North Carolina's commander to take charge. And funny enough, their commander was the youngest regimental commander in the Army of North Virginia. Henry Burgoyne was just 19 years old when he was here at Gettysburg. Or my apologies, he was 20 years old. He was 19 when he was made the colonel of the regiment. Still though, 20 years old, commanding almost 800 soldiers. And you had to imagine, North Carolina were actually pretty well equipped going into battle, had pretty nice coats. Imagine coming in these nice clean uniforms, nice clean accoutrements, and they're going to have to splash right through Willoughby Run. Burgoyne will be killed while he leads the regiment down this hillside. Ultimately, though, the Confederates would overwhelm the Iron Brigade, in particular the 24th Michigan, and they would drive them off McPherson's Ridge to Seminary Ridge, and ultimately take possession of this part of the field by the end of July 1st. So not only was this a key element to the first day's battle at Gettysburg, but it also is a classroom on how to take rough terrain. You have to come down a swell, you have to take over this rocky stream, which its water level changes regularly throughout the year. Sometimes it's very high, right now it's pretty low, and then have to assault this steep hillside. And imagine doing it today, with all these thickets. That's not good.
It's supposed to be a family-friendly park.
This is supposed to be family-friendly. Why is that there?
That's a one-way.
Yeah, you'll make a left.
Yep.
That was a beautiful shot ruined by that car.
And these people.
It's not as bad as the car. How deceptive.
Very deceptive.
Very deceptive.
See, this isn't that Seminary Ridge. This is the other Seminary Ridge.
This is the other Seminary Ridge.
Yeah, there's actually three.
There's actually 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to point out that it is a beautiful November afternoon here, Veterans Day weekend here at Gettysburg. And the last time we were on Seminary Ridge, you may remember it was pouring buckets, so much so we weren't able to film on location. So here I am, filming in front of the North Carolina Monument. I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts. It's not really part of our video, but North Carolina Monument.
I think. If I'm reading this correctly, right? So here's the field. We're at B. And A is where the camp was. So it should be over there. How far, I don't know.
We're going to walk till we feel it's right, or we just get tired.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's the plan. Extended that way. So the flagpole should be, or should have been, like, at 200 feet that way, maybe right around where that little ridge is.
Yeah.
Which you can't really see. I can't really see it in the photo, but it would have had to have been there, right?
Yeah, no, because it was like a rotunda.
Okay, so I might be crazy. I am crazy. But there's these two like equally sized large trees here, and we have these two right here. We know based off this photograph that this side, probably one of the sleeping quarters for the male or female guests, is right up near this fence line, which would line up pretty much perfect with these two trees and the fence there. But I might be reaching, I don't know. But this is it. This corner of the field has to be it. That is the only thing that makes sense with the North Carolina monument and then this fence line. Unless it's the other fence line on the other side of this property. I don't know.
Or maybe the White House was right here and it's straddling the, modern, I mean, reproduced 1863 fence line. Maybe the canvas White House stretched from here all the way to over there. Unfortunately, it'll be hard to prove because it looks like a lot of the trees through here have been groomed since 1922.
Or just have an unusual number of those, coincidences? Or is it just that Gettysburg is so well documented we just know so much?
I think that's more the case. Oh, I'm intimidated. I'm beneath Lee. I've never felt so below Lee than now. Is that the box coming in?
What's that?
Is that the box coming in?
Yep.
And as we are taking our tour of the 1922 maneuvers, of course, we're stopping to learn a little bit about the actual battle and the history that occurred on these hallowed grounds of the United States Marine Corps, right? These were hallowed by the Marine Corps.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
there was this little thing that occurred about 60 years before.
Yes, we got to talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, a little bit. Interestingly, this tablet from the old War Department system actually says that these were set up to depict two 20-pound parrots. The parrot guns are a little bit interesting because they're $500. Oh, $500. That was a lot of money in 1895.
Is that the original 1895 notice?
It looks original to the tower.
It does. I was thinking that.
We're fascinated by the stones.
I was. Well, technically, I think these are like walnut shells.
Do you think they're gonna have energy to get to the top?
Maybe. I used to have energy when I was younger. I wouldn't be able to climb that tower though.
Is this the Pickett's Charge reenactment?
I think it is.
Yep, there they go.
And they're all dead.
They should all be dead by now.
Yes. Triple canister. One for each.
So it appears that we are standing in the middle of downtown Gettysburg, which you are correct, but not in 1863 and not in 1922. We are standing along Culp Street, which is running right behind me and intersects with Johns Avenue, and behind me is the William John farmhouse behind there. And I do believe that is a period structure. Nope, it is not. It's an 1870 structure. Wow, I'm already failing here, right here. Wow, I'm failing.
It does have a plaque on the front door, so.
It counts.
Yeah, it's historic.
I'm just...
We got the pretzels on.
So it's dark here in Gettysburg. We just had dinner. My body's telling me I should go and lay down for the night. Problem is it's 6:30. Daylight savings time. Hell of a drug. It's day number 2 of the 1922 maneuver trip to Gettysburg. We're going to go out and explore some more sites of the maneuvers. We're also going to explore where the 1st Minnesota charged, but there's a monument that's interesting us and we're approaching it. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about this monument that Connor's dragging me toward. Engineering Corps.
Yeah, I saw that
15th and
castle. I was
50th
like-
New York Engineers. Well, yeah, the castle's normally the symbol of the Army Corps of Engineers. I don't know if it is the Army Corps of Engineers, but they are at least the 15th. Wow, yeah, they probably are. Why?
Mustered in June of 1861, mustered out July 1865, participated in all the campaigns of the Army of the Potomac, ending in Appomattox.
If you're wondering where this is located, we're just east of the Pennsylvania Memorial.
Yeah, and then the 50th New York, they mustered in September, mustered out in June, participated in all the campaigns of the Army of the Potomac, ending in Appomattox. These guys must have been basically together for the entire war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Siamese twins of the Army of the Potomac, as you were.
Yeah. I like the pontoon bridge they have up on the.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Gettysburg, this particular campaign, the Union Army Engineering Corps didn't really have a lot to do.
Yeah.
Like most of the earthworks and everything, those are made by the men. There's no real engineering. But other campaigns, I mean, they're the guys who moved the army, especially when they start moving into Virginia most times. Like it's on them.
Yeah. So it's probably one of those situations where these guys didn't necessarily do a ton during this battle.
You're so humble collector, so excited to go up.
I really am. I haven't been up here in years. Also, the staircase is just really cool.
This is somewhat better than the observation towers.
Yeah, and they designed the staircase correctly for defense as well.
Ah, they did.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to sword fight people up here.
Ah, yes.
Meanwhile, they got their perfect swing. Yeah,
I'm sure that's what they were thinking.
yeah, somebody was.
Was I thinking?
Maybe.
I wasn't thinking well this morning.
Well, yeah, it was a long night.
You can watch the live stream now if you're interested. Now, the closest way we can replicate the view that President Harding and his attaché had is by standing on top of the Pennsylvania Memorial. So the Ziegler Grove Tower would have been several hundred yards that way beyond the copse of trees are over here. So just beyond in the grove there of Ziegler's Grove. And they probably would have had about a similar elevation to view the demonstrations, which predominantly occurred out here in this portion of the battlefield where Pickett's Charge occurred in 1863. And as for a vantage point, if you look way over there in the distance, if I can find on the camera, a little far to the trees, there we are. If you see that Virginia Monument, there it is, Virginia Monument, which my finger just blurred. And just remember, that's where the Marines were encamped in front of the monument. We've gone off the beaten path, and we're trying our best not to walk into a giant field or giant trees and have the Park Service come and get us.
We're stranded.
Yeah, we don't want that. So we're trying our best. But what I'm trying to do is I want to get in a better position to show you how rough the topography was the first Minnesota had to traverse. So we're starting to come into perfect line of their monument, which likely also means we're right in the middle of their charge down this slope and down into Plum Run. And when you're exploring the battlefield, you'll just come across just cool stuff you're just in awe of. Look at the, what would you call that, the text they're using?
Yeah, the font.
The font. Ooh, very cool.
It's cool. Directed 85 too, so that's pretty early.
So something we don't often consider is, when we talk about the Army of the Potomac, we talk about these Union soldiers and Confederate soldiers for that matter. We know that most of the majority of them, they were volunteers. Some signed up for a 3-month war. How did that go?
Not well.
Did not go well.
Turns out the war was longer than 3 months.
So 3-month enlistments went to 3-year enlistments. However, there were also 9-month enlistments to appease some of the states. Ultimately, there still was a regular United States Army. There were regular servicemen involved in the American Civil War. And this massive monument here near the copse of trees is dedicated to U.S. Army members that served during the Gettysburg campaign. United States Cavalry, United States Infantry, 5th Army Corps, 2nd Division, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 12th, 14th Regiments of the U.S. Army, 2nd Brigade, 2nd, 7th, 10th, 11th, 17th, and 8th Regiments of the U.S. Army. Yeah. Erected by the Congress to commemorate the services of that portion of the Army of the Potomac, composed of the cavalry, artillery, infantry, and engineers of the regular Army of the United States in the Gettysburg Campaign. Like I said, not too far from the copse of trees.
Yeah.
All right, back to our regular scheduled programming.
All right.
And I would like to point out, there is some, what would you say? There's some beef on this monument, because on July 3rd, 1863, the survivors of this regiment, we don't need to explain that, just look over to your left and see the large monument. They literally just say that. They're like, yeah, we know what we did. But then also down here, they make sure to mention that they capture a Confederate flag. That is key to their story. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we head up and follow in the footsteps of their attack on the 28th Virginia. So we were just walking past the 20th Massachusetts Monument, and it's one of the more peculiar monuments on the battlefield. If you're driving up the road here, you're going to see a giant piece of stone and be like, really? That's it? Well, we just did some, we called the courier in, right? We called the courier in to provide some information. The courier known as Google. Yep. And it turns out that this stone actually comes from Massachusetts. And this is actually, they call it putting stone, which is the official stone of the state. And this material is made up of a lot of boulders, makes a lot of boulders up in Massachusetts, which a lot of the soldiers in the regiment played on as kids. So it's a memento of their childhood, forever memorialized here on the Gettysburg battlefield.
Oh, that quote at the bottom. Oh.
Yeah, so you'll find that the 11th Mississippi have a second marker up by the stone wall. I believe them and the 26th North Carolina, I think they're the only two that the Confederates have like a regimental marker near the stone wall. There are markers to individual Confederates like Armistead. Reason is, a group of the 11th Mississippi, they advanced almost to the stone wall. They took shelter behind the farm of Bryan. This is going in the blooper reel, doesn't matter. They went behind the barn on the Bryan farm. There, I said it. And they were kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. They can't continue forward because then there'll be a point-blank range of the muskets of the Union soldiers up on the wall. But they try to retreat, then their backs are exposed to the enemy. So they try to hold out for a little bit. Many of them are going to fall trying to make a break for it. And the decision is made by the survivors to surrender to the Union here. And this, they actually, a group of 11 Mississippi soldiers were buried in unmarked graves on the Bryan farm.
I don't think I've ever seen this monument before, actually. This is pretty cool.
So we're starting to brainstorm the idea for a potential monument for the Marine maneuvers.
Yeah, it's got to have a tank on it. Definitely have to have the EGA. I feel like it's got to have a campaign hat, too. That just feels right.
Yeah, gotta need a campaign hat.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of, like an obelisk? Are we thinking like a carved relief with like some kind of brass plaque? That might be the easiest.
I think a carved relief would be good.
Yeah.
You don't want it to like stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, make it a little more modest.
Yeah. Yeah. Coming to save the yeah, America. Yeah. Freedom is the only way now.